lost her love, but she'll love no more.
Challenge for Change is an experiment in the role of communications in social change. As part of this experiment, we filmed local people talking about the problems of a changing community and played back these films in that community. We chose Fogo Island as the location for this project for many reasons. The Extension Service of Memorial University in St. John's, Newfoundland, is deeply involved with the needs of the Newfoundland people. One of its community development officers, Fred Earle, was born and raised on Fogo Island. He knows and is known by all its people. We felt that we, as outsiders, could never go into a community without the help of such a person. Fogo met other criteria for us as well. We wanted to involve ourselves with a community in trouble, and one whose problems are typical of other places, so the results of our project could be applied. And we wanted a community whose people had already begun to organize for change, so we could affect the organization process by improving communication. Fogo Island is a fishing community off the northeast coast of Newfoundland, 40 miles north of Gander. An expensive hour-and-a-half ferry ride connects Fogo with the mainland once a day. It was once a relatively prosperous fishery and supply center, but now fishing on Fogo has declined because traditional methods cannot compete with modern technology. A community bypassed by industrialization is feeling its effects. 60% of the people on Fogo receive government welfare. Fred Earle revealed for us some of the complexities of this apparently simple place, where the social structure and communication problems make it difficult to organize for change. Most communication on Fogo is on a person-to-person basis. Literacy is limited. The island is 9 miles wide and 16 miles long. It has fewer than 6,000 people living in 10 separate villages, only recently linked by adequate roads. Social and religious differences divide people even within the villages. There is no tradition of local government. The villages are administered by the merchants and the clergy.
Our help is in the name of the Lord, who made heaven and earth.
Each of 4 major religions has its own school system. In its problems of isolation, Fogo is a microcosm of all of Newfoundland, and perhaps of other encapsulated communities that are symbolic islands. All these factors made us feel the need for a new means of communication for interpersonal, intervillage, and island-to-mainland dialogue. Fogo is an old community. It has been settled for almost 300 years, and its people have a deep sense of history and tradition.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, faith and will we stand as a pledge of our marriage vows.
But history and tradition are for the old. Fogo's young men and women leave the island for university or vocational training, and many do not return to live in the community. Fathers tell their sons, "There is no future for you on Fogo Island. There is no reason for you to stay." Fogo's fishing season is short, late May to early October, and the amount of ground on which to fish is limited. Even in prosperous times, there were cycles of good years and bad years, depending on the vagaries of the weather and the sea. But the traditional trap boats were well suited for inshore fishing. Now the inshore fishery is dying because the fish are being caught far off the coast by huge factory ships. Of the fish which local fishermen do catch, their sales are limited mostly to salt cod, dried on the island or salted and shipped in bulk to be dried elsewhere. The world market for salt cod is diminishing, but all the flounder, turbot, crab, and other species which comprise half the catch must be thrown back into the sea because of lack of modern processing and marketing facilities. Fogo's fishermen need an intermediate technology to fill the gap between these traditional trap boats and the international draggers. The longliner is one attempt to do that. It can fish deeper than the trap boat and has fish-finding apparatus. The government will subsidize its $30,000 cost if the fisherman contributes a percentage, either in the form of a down payment or materials and labor. But some trap boat fishermen complain that the longliner is robbing their inshore fish supply without meeting the real problem, because it does not have adequate storage space to fish far out. When we came to Fogo Island, there was no specific government plan for its future, either resettlement of its people or redevelopment. Government policy for Fogo and places like it is being formulated now and can be influenced by the local people if they can reach a consensus and propose a plan of action. Another reason for our selection of Fogo. Although there is a feeling of pessimism on Fogo, most of the people want to stay and live on the island. Fred Earle has helped channel this desire into concrete organization, and an island development committee has been formed to try to make Fogo viable in the 20th century. The committee believes there are still enough local resources, including labor, to provide a good living for the people on the island, if they are willing to invest in its development. As an outgrowth of the work of the Development Committee, in consultation with the government, a shipbuilders and producers cooperative was established during the course of our filming. Each fisherman will contribute a percentage of his catch towards the development of the cooperative, and the Newfoundland government has promised financial aid. Redevelopment is not the only solution proposed for Fogo Island. Some say the season is too short for a versatile fish plant, and the people must be resettled off the island to better fisheries, or even to other livelihoods. But sometimes outport people have been resettled to so-called growth centers, which have not grown quickly enough. And any resettlement plan must deal with the question of the people's feelings. Some of Fogo's families have lived on the island for 300 years. And to them, fishing is not only a livelihood, but a way of life. There are many problems and no guaranteed solutions. But one thing is certain. Continuing able-bodied welfare is not a satisfactory answer. It has become clear wherever it exists that the cost of welfare in terms of human dignity is larger than its cost in dollars. The human costs are especially high in a place like Fogo, for fishermen are a traditionally proud and independent people. The outlook for redevelopment is hopeful if people's sense of community can be expanded into island-wide cooperation. But it must happen soon because the young are leaving. This is the challenge for Fred Earle and the other people of Fogo Island. Our challenge is to create confidence in people's ability to articulate and to communicate their problems, in a belief that an aware community can best shape its own future.